Alright, first things first, let me apologize. This video was supposed to come out last week, basically on September 1st. And, yeah, it's, didn't happen that way, unfortunately. And I apologize for that. I've had nothing but sinus problems. Yeah, it's not pretty, it was not fun, and let's just say I was in a lot of pain, I could barely breathe, I sure as hell wasn't ready to be recording lines, so, yeah, sorry about that. But Mario Odyssey, when it was first announced, I was super excited. So much so, the first thing I did for YouTube was a marathon of 3D Mario games. Yeah, it's been that long. I started Season 1 around the time Mario Odyssey was coming out, so it's fitting that I end Season 5 with a review of Mario Odyssey. I love this game. Let me say this. I like the game so much, it is my third favorite Mario game of all time. It is my favorite 3D Mario game, surpassing Super Mario Galaxy. It isn't perfect by any means, but it's a great time for sure. And thanks to younger game creators at Nintendo, it's one of the more creative games. Their leading inspiration for the game like this, though, was indeed Super Mario 64. You could call it a sequel or a spiritual successor if you'd like. Back to the open-world platforming design, but I think there's plenty of things taken from all of Mario's history, not just Mario 64. For example, there are smaller platforming challenges that you do in alternate worlds, very similar to Super Mario Sunshine, as well as water spraying power-up. There are plenty of 2D sections, some of which bend gravity, and octopus enemies that are obviously inspired from Galaxy, which is awesome. There are enemies in desert areas that are heavily inspired from Super Mario Land. Shame about Daisy not being in here though. And I'll be mentioning Donkey Kong a lot too this review. I'll get into more details on all the Easter eggs a little bit later, but dang, they really looked into Mario's history for inspiration for this one. I'm excited to finally talk about this game, so let's do this. Let's take on Mario's World Tour! So the story begins with Mario trying to stop a kidnapping of Princess Peach. I know this is just the start of the game, but Mario's already fighting Bowser. Dang. However, Mario is defeated and kicked off of Bowser's airship, and his hat is absolutely destroyed. Mario luckily lands in a land where floating hat ghosts live. But unlike their Boo brethren, these hats are actually pretty friendly, and one of them wants to help Mario. See, Bowser kidnapped his sister to be Princess Peach's tiara. The hat person, also known as Cappy, turns into Mario's hat, and the two are off working together to find an airship, as Bowser blew up all the airships in the area. However, after flying to a nearby Dinosaur Island, they managed to find an older airship that's shaped like a hat. I mean, it was made by hat people after all. After an encounter with a rabbit woman trying to feed you to her chain chomp, Mario manages to fix the airship and chase after Bowser. The next few worlds, Bowser ends up stealing things from various lands, while also causing issues for them, like a ring from this desert that causes ice to form due to a curse. There are a few times Bowser actually blows away Mario's airship as well, forcing Mario to fix it by exploring an island in poison or fighting a giant dark dragon. At one point, Bowser stops to steal power from New Donk City, and Mario has to help power back up the city and fight Bowser's mechanical wiggler. Dang. Eventually, Mario ends up in Bowser's Kingdom, which is now a huge feudal Japan castle instead of, the traditional European design that Bowser's kind of used to. Mario chases after him and fights off his wedding planners, the Brutals, who are 4 rabbits Bowser hired as henchmen. Afterwards, Mario chases Bowser straight to the moon. On the moon, there's a very lovely wedding chapel, and Mario manages to defeat Bowser one last time, and then possess Bowser, and then save the princess. After this, Mario makes a more romantic gesture at Peach, only to be blocked by Bowser. Peach gets absolutely annoyed at these two for pushing flowers in her face, and Mario and Peach leave. Well, Peach almost leaves Mario on the moon. Kind of rudely too, but hey, at least she has a personality in this game, something sorely lacking in many other Mario games. Regardless, if this story seems more involved with the lands Mario travels in, it is. This game builds a lot on Mario lore too. There's a desert, a lake, a poison jungle, and sky areas, and not in that order, but pretty close. Does that sound familiar? There are other areas in between all these, but that's cool. It builds on other Mario games and gives us a more fleshed out map. Not only for this game, but for all Mario games that use these level tropes. Pretty sneaky, Nintendo. But that's all part of the charm of this game. This game shows off a lot of the Mario world, which is why Mario Land has some cameos here in this game. Donkey Kong shows up in New Donk City, a city that uses a lot of green pipes, mind you, officially pushing Mario out of the real world. Yeah, he wasn't from New York, he's from New Donk City. Done. More than likely, Mario fought Donkey Kong and did plumbing in New Donk City, making this his original hometown. Hell, Pauline is even here. I love Pauline's design here, honestly, and the fact that she's a singer in her spare time is awesome. She even dances like her sprite from Donkey Kong, a very nice reference. Hell, all the roads in New Donk City are named after Donkey Kong country things like Espresso and Cranky Kong. I really should talk about that series soon. However, while New Donk City has the most Easter eggs, there's still plenty to find elsewhere. 8-bit fossils in Dinosaur Island called Cascade Falls? Yes, please. The ruins in the desert are awesome, and I already mentioned Mario Land creatures here. In a hidden kingdom, there is a Tanuki tree from 3D Land 2. Oh, that kingdom has a lot of references from Super Mario 64 as well. But more on that later. Honestly, there are so many little details that I could do an entire video on the Easter eggs alone. Also, the graphics are fantastic. Some of the things that, have the cartoony art style that were used for Mario, and some things look way too realistic to blend into the universe entirely. This dragon boss fight may come to mind, and yes, I'm talking about this thing. But humans look realistic here too, and the giant unagi eels are back. Oh shit. Yeah, they look realistic too, as if they weren't already nightmare fuel. No, let's make them look even more terrifying and multiply them. Lovely. What looks really impressive though is how beautiful these places look. The Cap Kingdom isn't fully black and white, but it's mostly using these colors. It looks so damn lovely here, and the skybox is impressive. Cascade Falls looks amazing as well, and again, such a lovely skybox. Yeah, the backdrops of these places look just as good, making you stare out into the distance. Ah, I love it. Also, let's talk about the music. The main theme associated with the game is, of course, Jump Up Superstar. Makes me just want to sing. Here we go, off the rails. Don't you know it's time to raise our sails? It's freedom like you never knew. Don't need bags or a pass. Say the word, I'll be there in a flash. You could say my hat is off to you. Oh, and of course the other vocal track. It plays when you're playing as Bowser in that final push, and that awesome guitar riff hits, and it's just like, smash through the blocks that fall away. No time for fear, just let it all fall away. It's so damn good. But if I'm honest, even the non-vocal tracks are fantastic. The town of Hat People, that are indeed ghosts, it's so chipper but mysterious, and when it plays, it reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie, actually. New Donk City is based on New York City, so of course there's some city-like jazz that's playing. Reminds me of Sonic Unleashed. Bowser's Kingdom is now a Japanese castle, so of course the music uses Japanese flutes like an old samurai movie. Reminds me of... I don't actually play a whole lot of games like that. Anyway, the music is amazing, and I highly recommend giving the OST a listen to. It has many different flavors and even some cultures mixed in. Look, this game is charming for new fans and longtime Mario fans alike. It's so damn charming you could see it as disgusting, but I love every minute of it. But of course, the important part is how the game plays, and that's where we run into our first issue. See, I use a controller for this game. Joy-Cons don't work for me as mine have drift issues, and I haven't been able to afford new Joy-Cons. Those things are expensive. Oops. However, the normal control setup has a dash that you can do in mid-air, where Mario bounces off Cappy for extra airtime, and then can hat dash again. The issue is, sometimes Mario doesn't bounce off the cap the first time, leading him to dive towards the ground prematurely, and other times he just straight up ground pounds. Yeah, it's mapped to the same button as the ground pound, which isn't fantastic. This, however, rarely affects my time with the game. This mostly is an issue with endgame stuff. Outside of that, Mario can jump out of a ground pound, which gives him more air, roll into a ball, and has most of his tricks from Super Mario 64. Ball rolling is a bit like Sonic, sure, but it is faster than his running speed, which is kinda slow compared to other games. So long jumping and rolling is the best way to pick up speed. I keep thinking there's a run button like in Super Mario 3D World, but yeah. You're only hearing about Mario's gameplay here though, aren't you? What about possession? Yeah, Mario can throw Cappy like a boomerang, slaying most small foes and possessing larger ones. This allows something like a Goomba to now be playable. Goombas can hop, they don't slide on ice, and they can stack to reach higher ground than Mario can. Miss the frog suit from Super Mario Bros. 3? Well, just possess a frog nearby for great water control and massive jumping abilities. That's awesome. Miss Fire Mario? Possess a Fire Bros. It's basically the same thing. The hammer suit? Yeah, Hammer Brothers has you covered. You want to fly? The Paragoomba is here to pick up the slack. You can literally play as a T-Rex or become a projectile with a chain chomp. You can turn into a tank or a bullet bill and fly long distances for a short amount of time. Need better swimming? Possess a nearby Cheep Cheep and not even have to worry about losing air. A lava bubble is less an obstacle and more of a way for you to cross lava pits now. Even new creatures get into the mix. The new Wiggler type can extend like an accordion and create new ways to platform. Uproot allows you to get up higher areas with ease. Not all the capture abilities are super cool, mind you. A cactus, a tree, you can capture them and move them. That's it. This stupid bird thing from Bowser's Castle I don't really like. Okay, you basically fling yourself up walls and stick to walls, and it's a bit cumbersome and doesn't work as well as I'd like. But you can also capture something like Bowser. That's awesome. That's right, for the first time in a mainline Mario game, Bowser is playable. Ah, it's great. Even plays so good with a bunch of different movement options and power-ups. It's one of the best forms in my opinion. Unfortunately, you can only possess Bowser in the final level. It'd be kind of cool to take him everywhere, but no go. So the levels are open world levels, allowing you to explore and collect power moons basically however you want. They are more or less power stars. You need them to power your airship. You are basically given a map that is somewhat open for you to explore and collect whatever moons you want. The game does kind of nudge you, however. Each world has a story to tell and a boss fight to face off against. You can ignore these if you want, but bosses often have triple moons, basically a collection of 3 moons in one go. If you beat the boss, you often open up more of the map, and you can collect more power moons and have some more fun. Using the desert as an example, there's a ton of moons at first. You can just go and grab whatever you want. However, if you beat the brutal fight, as well as the fight with the 2-handed boss that looks like Andros, you can clear out a ton of ice, opening up the village more. This allows you more purple coins, as well as some stores that you can get moons by playing slots, and you can go into other areas. It's awesome. If you want more linear adventure, you can totally do that. Just go where the game prompts you and fight the bosses. Mario Odyssey gives you that option if you'd like. I don't personally play the game that way, but it is nice to have the option. No, I do eventually fight the boss, but I also explore off the beaten path too. I normally have a ton of moons, way more than required, and yeah, there's actually a required amount of moons you need in each world. It's a lot smaller than you might think, especially in the bigger levels. It is so easy to have like double, even triple the amount of power moons that are required to move on. You could accidentally do this, literally. It's that easy. The levels have plenty for you to do, like exploring, mini games, mini levels like from Sunshine, and in a way, a boss fight. Boss fights are all actually really good in this game. Normally, you'd either fight a brutal, a boss that's pretty easy to deal with, all things considered. However, there are bigger threats. For example, this bird chef. You fight him as a lava bubble rather than typical Mario. Same with this octopus as you fight him with the water squirting enemy, which also happens to be just a smaller octopus. This would be like fighting a boss from Galaxy, but with an alternate version of Flood from Mario Sunshine. It's an awesome fight, I'm telling you guys. This flower collector, who looks like a Pikmin boss, is fought with the Uproot enemy, and the Mecha Wiggler is fought normally using a tank enemy. Nice. The only boss you fight as Mario is actually Bowser and this big-ass dragon, who uses electrical attacks, which is awesome. Bowser, however, isn't actually all that great. Only slightly more threatening than his rabbit minions, Bowser's a weaker boss fight in the game, and you have to do him twice. Shame, really. However, when you take over Bowser's body to rip through blocks and escape the collapsing moon, that was fun and worth it in the end. Overall, the levels and boss fights are fantastic. There's rarely a moon that is lame to get, and if there is, it's because the moon is just sitting out in the open. Still, there are very few challenges that I have issues with, and the ones that I do are all mostly endgame content. Now, when talking about endgame content, hitting the volleyball or jumping rope over 100 times is really stupid and more difficult than it really should be. Tedious and painful. Once you beat the game, you gain the ability to travel to the Mushroom Kingdom. Princess Peach's castle is there, and yes, it's similar to Super Mario 64. Yoshi's even there on the roof, which you can play as him. That's awesome. Yeah, and in case you were wondering, this is actually a full-fledged level. There's plenty of challenges and power stars to collect. Some of the challenges are new, some of the challenges are old. That's great. The first hint that I had of this level was actually finding a painting in another level and ending up basically at Yoshi's house, which is floating off in the distance. That's great. This is also where the Tanuki tree is, and you can enter paintings to have rematches with former boss fights, but they're harder. This game knows how to hit you, I'm telling you. You may have noticed that Mario looks different in a lot of these shots, by the way. Well, that's because you can buy clothes and change Mario's appearance. Some you can buy with regular yellow coins, which gives them purpose, and finding them is really cool, but some of them you buy with exclusive purple coins. The purple coins look different in each world, adding even more charm. For example, they're hats in the Cap Kingdom, and while they look like Super Mario 64 coins in the Mushroom Kingdom, sometimes they have Pauline's face in the Metro Kingdom. The outfits Mario rocks are all references to. Yep. Some of these Mario wore in promotional pictures and artwork, or things like his Mario 64 outfit Mario wore himself in a game or two. You can also spend purple coins on exclusive stickers on your airship, or cool little knickknacks like Model T-Rex from Cascade Falls and other souvenirs. There's plenty of places to find stashes of coins, and each world has 50 or 100 purple coins, which is a pain in the ass to find sometimes, but it's well worth it. However, unlike Power Moons, there's no in-game way to find purple coins. You find them through amiibo support. Yeah, you have to have a specific amiibo though. Oops. Meanwhile, Power Moons are very common. But if you're looking to collect them all, you can get hints from a bird in the level or pay a blue toad 50 coins to mark one on your map. That's kind of nice. At least there's a way to collect those decently. Collect enough and tougher levels on the moon are actually unlocked. Actually, after you beat the game, moon rocks in each area begin glowing. Hit them and unlock even more moons. Thankfully, these moons are already marked on your map. Open new challenges and trials and collect tons of moons. I hear if you collect them all, you get a big-ass hat on Princess Peach's castle. But I didn't do that for this particular review. There are some more frustrating challenges here and there, but overall getting moons is fun normally, so I don't mind it. Plenty to do this time around. Enjoy! Overall, Super Mario Odyssey is possibly the most creative Mario game we've had in a long time. Possessing creatures instead of power-ups is novel and it works really well, since most of the power-ups in Mario's history are based off of creatures to begin with anyway, yeah. The music, graphics, Easter eggs, costumes for Mario, and moons make for a very fun time. The bosses and levels are all fantastic, and even when not possessing, Mario himself is fun to play too. The story is the best Mario story outside of an RPG title, and the worlds and characters have tons of personality and reasons for Mario to be in each level. I could go on and on about how good this game is. There are few issues, like the ground pound thing, as well as some of the levels being a bit too spacious like the desert. Trust me when I say this, it is not fun to have to walk long distances for something entertaining to actually happen. But overall, none of these complaints are serious enough to impact my enjoyment over the game. This game is a 10 out of 10, a masterpiece in my opinion. I highly recommend it if you like platformers, especially if you like 3D collectathon platformers. This game did come out around a time when a bunch of indie titles were also trying to revive the genre, like Yooka-Laylee or Hat in Time. Hopefully we see more of these open world like platformers. Hey, it isn't collecting things, but Sonic Frontiers open world. Hopefully it's good. Regardless of these other titles, Mario Odyssey is one of the games that should be a gold standard for 3D Mario games and collectathon platformers going forward. If Bowser's Fury is anything to go by, we are in good hands with 3D Mario, as they took plenty of notes from Odyssey while still giving it its own identity. But that's all the time I have to gush about Mario Odyssey. This marks the end of Season 5 for me, my minions. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break, few months here and there. I'm still going to be doing Let's Plays and all that jazz. But when I return, Season 6 will be more focused on Sega and PlayStation mascots, while still finding time for Nintendo here and there. But it's going to be a lot more sparse compared to what I've been doing. So, yeah, there you go. That's all the time I have. You know what helps me out? Subscribing, liking the video, commenting, that kind of stuff. Maybe hit the bell for live notifications. Yeah, you guys know what to do. Till next time, my minions, take care.